with Season 1 for Warzone came the integration of 40 plus weapons from Vanguard. So what should you be using? That's a lot of stuff you have to sift through. What's the best weapons that you should be taking a look at? Today, I want to share with you guys my picks for the top 5 guns, or actually top 6 as you'll see here, guns within Warzone that are Vanguard weapons. Of these new ones, what I think are the best choices you should be using. So that said, as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Is there any weapon that you think should be in this top 5 list? Whatever the case, drop it down below. Be on the lookout. We will have our top 10 loadouts video here coming a little on later in the weekend, but for right now, we're talking guns. If you guys enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video, and of course, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, all things Vanguard. We got a lot of stuff here coming up on deck you will not want to miss. So if you're part of that nearly 7% of viewers that are not subscribed, if you'd like to help us out on that road to 500,000 subscribers, I'd love to have you in the community. 2 final notes: a big thank you to these legends on screen who use creator code Espresso in either their battle pass purchase or the shop here for Season 1. If you guys wish to support the channel a little further, using creator code Espresso is an entirely optional way to do so. Do not ever feel pressured to, but if you decide to, tweet me a picture. I'd love to shout out some of your generous support. And finally, my friends over at G Fuel bumped up code Espresso to 30% off your entire order in celebration of Season 1's launch. So check that out, link in the description below. That said, let's talk about the top 5 weapons that came over from Vanguard. To start out, 3 disclaimers and housekeeping items. Number 1, this video is predominantly to talk about the guns to use, not so much the class setups and loadouts. I'm still ironing out my own setups here with each of these weapons, and we'll have the best builds for each of these probably within the next few days, to which we'll drop the top 10 loadouts that we normally do for every single season, and especially after an integration like this that you guys can check out and go fully in on. Number 2, there's going to be a quote weapon balance and bug fix update going live later tonight Pacific time and into tomorrow morning, depending on where you're at in the world here, where that time conversion takes you. So that's something that could completely nerf some of these weapons in the ground, nullify their place in sort of the top 5 weapons here, but for the time being, I think these are the dominant weapons that you'll run into for the most part, and want to give you that heads up that you guys deserve so that you can do as best as you possibly can. And number 3, these are the top 5 Vanguard weapons of the integration that I've personally found that I've had the most success with Metaverse VR being introduced as of today, meaning that you don't have to just play Vanguard Royale, Vanguard Resurgence, and you can use all your other weapons across Cold War and Modern Warfare, stacking them up 1-to-1. I haven't quite had the time to compare and contrast these just yet. It could be that Vanguard weapons are head and shoulders above the rest, but it also could be that they suck comparatively. We just don't know yet, which again defers to number 1. That top 10 loadouts video of the season and Caldera will be coming shortly, but we just need to get a little bit more info in the meantime. Let's start out with what I think is perhaps one of the best weapons to use right now, that being the rifle of the NZ41. The NZ41, it packs a punch, it has minimal recoil and bounce. If you kit it out properly, I definitely still have, again, some work to do ironing out mine where it can be better, but it's very easy to control. The only downside is that the way that you have to kit this out if you want the best possible damage potential is you have to kit it out so that you don't have a magazine, because there are only 3 magazine options, conversions that you can have here for the NZ41, where it's a 20 round fast mag, which doesn't give you a whole lot to work with in, say, trios or even quads. But then you also have an 8mm 30 round mag, which again doesn't do a whole ton for you. It increases your fire rate, but also takes away from the damage. And then you have the 45 round magazine, which gives you a little bit more ammo to work with, sure, but it takes away damage and really prioritizes things like your fire rate and movement speed. So it is something that if you want the highest damage potential, kind of just sticking with that base 30 round mag is probably your best bet. But again, that's where it gets kind of tricky. In trios and quads, 30 rounds isn't exactly what you want for every single engagement. You can kill in 5 to 6 shots, but again, if you miss any of those and you have multiple enemies, you're gonna have to dip out, reload, and take some cover while doing so. So it is something that honestly I think is a great weapon, but does present some hurdles in that aspect. I end up running normally things like the F8 stabilizer, 360mm barrel, the 2.5 optic. I think that's gonna be your sort of go-to optic here this year. The Ravenwood padded stock, acrobatic as a perk. Some people have ended up using frenzy or brace, which again are phenomenal options, but I just like that extra movement speed. Fully loaded, the polymer grip, no magazine again, lengthened, and the M1941 hand stop. Now again, as you'll see with a lot of these builds, we're kind of sacrificing the ability to stay off the radar because we don't want to use subsonic. That absolutely crushes your bullet velocity, and so therefore at range, which is the majority of your gunfights, it's not great at all. And then of course things like your silencer, they don't do anything this year in terms of damage range and bullet velocity, at least right now. But the NZ, I think, is definitely the best weapon right now in terms of rifle play. Kind of a close second is the bar here. This thing packs such a good punch with the BMG rounds. The only downsides is that it does have a lot of bounce on the gun, so that's something you have to kit out and correct for in terms of the recoil, and it's an incredibly slower weapon by comparison to others that you'll see. The NZ41, the Automaton, the STG, there's a lot of things by comparison that feel more like a rifle. This kind of feels like a mobile LMG in that sense, but it packs that punch. To me, it's kind of like the Odin, but if it had a viable chance in the modern warfare meta. Very slow, incredibly heavy recoil, but can kill in literally 4 shots. Slow as ever, but super powerful. The key to this build being the BMG rounds offering up more damage and then just fully kitting out your weapon sort of for recoil control. Now, the Automaton is another great one here, and this is perhaps the easiest gun to run with if you ask me, and it comes with a 75 round mag, something that we don't see quite often with our rifles here within Vanguard weaponry. I think that's probably going to be the biggest hurdle this year so far with the weapons that we have on offer for Vanguard so far, is that there's not a whole lot of weapons that have a larger ammo magazine that offer up some competitive benefits that really make you want to choose something here at this. The Automaton, while it does have a Clouser magazine that offers up damage with a 50 round mag, that's actually not a bad choice. That's something that can give you the ammo range of, say, the AMAX, but the 75 round mag offers up so much more in terms of taking multiple engagements at once. And also with a fire rate, the fact that this thing is incredibly easy to control and basically can be pinpoint precise if you kit it out for recoil and accuracy, I like to take that 75 round mag. And again, mobility, handling, super easy to use right off the rip, so you can kind of work a little bit with other attachments if you don't want to just solely go towards recoil. That to me is my top 3 weapons in terms of the rifle play, but then we start to get to medium range and close range. Our next weapon being probably the PPSH. This is, I think, the best SMG as the time being. Yes, we do have things like the MP40, which is solid. The M1928 seems a little bit hit or miss for me right now with the damage mags. The Owen gun's pretty solid, but I like the PPSH just a little bit more. The PPSH here, this is something that I'll end up running the 300mm barrel for accuracy. The big key thing is that you want that Gorenko 71 round magazine. You can of course have the Russian short mag, but with only 35 rounds in the magazine and that fire rate, you're gonna burn through that lot and you're gonna need to reload. You can take out with that 71 round Gorenko mag a couple of enemies before even having to reload. You also have things like Fleet, which allows you to have better weapon swap quickness, which is phenomenal, and the handling of this thing is pretty solid. So definitely give that one a try. And the final 2 weapons that we'll talk about, I know that we're now on to technically number 5 of 5, but I kind of want to do a 2-for-1 bonus here. These are both incredibly toxic. I expect these both to be fixed, but for the time being, they're actually incredible for your close range. Firstly, the Snake Shot Magnums are back. The key portions of this build for the Magnums come down to the Wilkie W4 stub barrel and the Russian 30 short magazine, which offers up more damage, bullet velocity, and range, plus also the shot shell, which increases the damage radius for these things. Run that akimbo and, well, kit out the rest of your build for sprint to fire and you are golden. I'm not even kidding. This thing up close will one-pop enemies, meaning that those 2 shots that you fire off at the same time will take somebody from full armor and down them. It's actually ridiculous. I can't remember off the top of my head if the snake shots from Cold War and Modern Warfare were the same way with this, but dude, I'm telling you, this is insanely powerful. Outside of that sort of one-shot range, which really isn't very long, thankfully, it will get a couple of hit markers, and outwards to an SMG range, you're going to end up having to dump all 6 shots in, it seems like. So it's going to have that really big trade-off of, if you're in close quarters, you're going to absolutely annihilate your enemies, but if you're anywhere outside of that, it's not a great viable option. So bear that in mind, and same thing then goes for the combat shotgun. This thing can seemingly pop players, but with a bit more range. You can still one pop, and what's interesting is that, well, we have ground loot versions of this. So there are pre-built blueprints, if you want to call them that, in cache spawns on the ground that can do the same effect here as if you kit it out fully in your own sort of create a class here with this. Granted, you don't necessarily need anything that makes this stand out by definition. I end up running the sawed-off barrel, the 7-round drum mag, and vital so that you get as much damage potential as possible. That, I think, maximizes it, but just to be a little extra toxic here, I do end up also running incendiary, so offering up a little bit more damage over time as well if you tag somebody up. But again, still seriously another one pop, but in close quarters only. So that to me is the top 5 or top 6 weapons here within Vanguard weaponry right now. Again, pending no weapon tuning update that will be going live later tonight. Things to remember though for each of these weapons and to kit out your class: bloom is now a thing with Vanguard weaponry. It's not within Modern Warfare and Cold War, at least so far, pending that they didn't add these things in for other weapons retroactively. So kit out for accuracy so that at a distance, your shots are actually landing where you are aiming. That is still something that I can't believe we're ending up going into that territory, but bloom is absolutely a thing within Warzone for Vanguard weaponry now. The recoil on some of these also is wild, so kit your weapons for recoil when applicable. And so far, I haven't been able to see any testing that states they work incorrectly, but things like Vital and those caliber conversions are definitely worth running if you have them available for certain weapons. So that said, that's the top 5 weapons, top 6 weapons here within Vanguard. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do be sure to check out my friends over at G Fuel as well. Code Espresso is bumped up to 30% off your entire order. If you guys want to get a restock or check anything out for the very first time, now is as best the time to do it, so make sure you check that out. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys liking any of these weapons? Anything that you think contends for a top 5 weapon spot within Vanguard weaponry? Leave your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video. And of course, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, all things Vanguard. We have a lot here still coming with Season 1, so stick around on the channel if you guys are new. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.